Morning and welcome to Houston Newsmakers and my conversation with Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo. Good morning. Good to see you again,
Hey,
Chief.
good morning. Great to be here. How are you?
Happy Father's Day to you. It's a good day. What does Father's Day mean to you?
It means that it reminds me of what's most important in my life, and that's children and family. So it's a great morning.
It's a good day. All you dads out there, hope you're being treated like the kings that you are.
Yeah.
It's been 6 months you've been on the job. I want to talk a little bit in detail about some of the progress and things that have been happening in you. But first of all, SB 4. That's been passed. Now it's going to be law starting in September, the Sanctuary Cities bill. There was no lack of passion on the part of the citizens and legislators who went to Austin to begin with, but it had no effect. That law was passed anyway, and now it's going to be causing some issues for some departments. Talk about what that means to you and how the department's going to handle that.
Well, I mean, it's going to make us have to work that much more diligently to make sure that there's trust amongst this community. When you think about being the most diverse city in the nation, we're going to have to really try to convince people that we're not interested in their status or immigration status. We're interested in bringing victims justice and criminals to justice. And we have already seen the chilling effect. Just the debate had a chilling effect when the reporting of crimes by Hispanics is way down in the city of Houston. When you look at the rest of our community, it's up, and that's not good for anyone's safety. So we got a lot of work ahead of us.
This whole process, though, when you hear from somebody on the outside looking in who has no knowledge about what's going on, they say, "Wait a minute. It's asking for you to comply with whatever federal agencies are trying to do." Does that make sense?
Well, no. I mean, what they don't understand is that we're not a sanctuary city. We already honored ICE detainers at the jail. But what this has done is actually taken away the authority of police chiefs, or tried to take away the authority of police chiefs to manage their own workload and their own workforces, where it precludes us from telling officers that at the point of detention, from telling them they can't be asking about immigration status. Now, it's important for officers to realize we're not going to tolerate racial profiling. Thankfully, most police officers are not interested in going after cooks, nannies, and day laborers. They're interested in going after hardened criminals, and especially the Houston Police Department. So I'm hopeful that the very vast majority of police officers in this state will focus on crime fighting and not being ICE agents.
You've also, in this legislative session, it's kind of unusual for the legislative session to be so impactful, at least having you involved in what's going on. But the pension issue is also a part of the legislation. How did you handle that early on? You walk in the door, and that's a big issue for this city. How have you handled that with your officers, and how is that going to change things going forward?
Well, I mean, it's created every single assistant chief and executive assistant chief are new in their position. So a lot of people retired because of the pension reform. So we've had to really manage that wave of retirements. Thankfully, it's been less than we anticipated. But I'm really proud of the fact that we have a mayor and a council that understood that the pension system was broken, that it was on its way to bankruptcy if we didn't do something about it. And I'm grateful that Mayor Turner I think he staked his whole political career here in the city of Houston. He had the courage to take something on that no one has been able to do. And we should all be proud of our mayor, our council, and ultimately the legislature and the governor that actually signed it and passed it and signed it.
Has that stressed anything between you and maybe the union and the rank and file at all?
Well, no. I mean, the union, this union here, they're very sophisticated. They understood that without pension reform, that they were placing at risk the entire solvency of the pension fund. And so they were at the table. I'm proud of the fact that the police officers, you'd think that they'd be all bitter. We have a really great police department with a great workforce, with a great heart, and they knew that they had to make sacrifices if we were going to secure pensions into the future. And one thing that I think our public servants really deserve is a pension after they dedicate their lives to the safety of the people of Houston.
When you walked into the city of Houston job as a police chief, what was it that you saw from the outside looking in, and what have been the biggest challenges as you've come in and you've taken over as chief?
Well, what I saw is a city that is really under-resourced in terms of the police department, even government. We have this cap on taxes that has really made us a cash-starved, artificially cash-starved city. So I know that we're under-resourced in terms of equipment, in terms of personnel, and so that made working smarter that much more important, being efficient that much more important. And so when I came in, we really had to start moving pieces around to make sure that the limited resources we do have are being utilized in a manner where we can maximize their efficiency. And I'm glad to say that we're doing business a lot differently, and hopefully we'll start seeing some results.
How have the officers responded? Obviously, you said you put in a whole bunch of new people, and I know typically in those kind of organizations, change is something that kind of like, oh, yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge. How has that worked for you, and how have you interacted with the guys and women?
You know, I'm kind of a goofball, so you know, I always tell people there's plenty of times to be serious, there's plenty of times to be intense. This profession's intense, so I think I try to be as approachable as possible, and I have been so touched by the response of this organization to the changes. I can't tell you the emails I get from my folks, the comments I get from my folks. They have been so welcoming, and quite frankly, they've really embraced the change. And I think that we all as Houstonians, you know, we should take the time when we see these police officers, these men and women, the people serving in the support functions, to say, hey, thank you for taking the bitter pill of reduced pension benefits. Thank you for working in a department where 75% of your fleet is over the mileage, over the lifespan of that vehicle. Thank you for keeping a can-do attitude despite the overwhelming challenges, and thank you for dedicating your life to public services. We need to lift these men and women up. You know, our starting pay is the lowest of any big city, so there's still a lot of work to be done to help these men and women.
You talk, that leads me into the community, which you've always had a real strong focus on community policing as well. What kind of feedback have you gotten from the community? Because I know you really wanted to get out there and be as transparent as you could and have them feel that way as well.
I mean, so far so good. You know, I love people. You know, I like to say
it's tough to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I've never met a stranger, and so what I love about the city of Houston is that diversity in some places may be a four-letter word, but in the city of Houston, it's embraced. I mean, I've never seen a city where you go to restaurants and you see beautiful people of all skin tones, of all religions, from all over the world, 127 languages spoken in our HISD. You know, I think that we are a model for the rest of the nation of what being American is all about, that melting pot that for 240-something years has really served us well. And I think that we are probably a snapshot of what the future is going to look like for our country.
I think you're right about that. And we're going to talk about more with Chief Art Acevedo in just a moment, including the criminals he most wants to send a message to and about his blown chance to make the major leagues.